Face reality, people. Movies are dead. Games are dead. Narrative? Dead.
Media is nothing but neural trigger response and viral conditioning.
Wait, what are you two talking about?
I don't know. You could kind of see that the previous person goes into the storage to the left of them,
Okay.
and but you just see it. You don't know, like, because you've only seen him so far once,
Yeah.
like, or you've seen his double walking right for the first time,
Yeah.
and but the first scene of the storage, you're seeing half of the storage to the left of it, and where he walks in, and you don't see it his full body, but then they all go into the next one. So there's this time I missed it where they kind of show, like, like there's at least two different machines going, like, two different storages.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah,
I
so they're
think.
like, and we definitely see that
Yeah.
the guy replaces himself with the earbud, and he's ahead.
Yeah. But then, like,
And
if he's building this new giant one in France somewhere, who knows how far, like, he could be influencing things in his own, like,
yeah,
the things we saw play
yeah,
out
he's
in the
more
movie could
ambitious.
have been influenced by him already, like, way back, even in the past. Maybe. I don't know. I don't
Well,
know.
yeah. So even on the first scene when he first finds out about it, he has the earpiece.
Yeah. Exactly.
And and you just see he's more ambitious. Right? He comes up with a lot of them.
Yeah. And he had to have, let's be real, if he's quoting sentences and knows exactly what to say 3 seconds ahead of time, that means that dude either he just has the greatest. No, actually, he's recording everything.
Yeah,
Damn, true. Okay.
he's recording, and like in the around the beginning, he had this nosebleed thing. It's because he's been doing it like
Okay.
more times already.
Well, no, it was eight. That was an ear bleed.
Or ear bleed, yeah, ear
Yeah,
bleed. But it looked like it was his first time. But the
exactly.
other guy never had that.
Yeah,
Like, it was advanced.
and we were like, oh, you should get an MRI like immediately. But apparently, he
Oh
already knew
yeah.
what the fuck was going down, and he just knew exactly what to say in every moment, to where it'd be like, oh, this is exactly what ignorant version of him would say in these. Like, was it like? How did he get the ignorant version of what he would say? How did he get that? Did he just experience it and record it, or did he secretly
I think
record?
yeah, I think he observed it first.
Okay,
Uh, oh, or either he observed it or he wrote it down because he did it. His first version, he must have did it already.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, how did he get that version of himself doing that? It's like grow a beard, put a hoodie on, like sit in the back, like recording them or something. Like, what the fuck?
I think the recording was to let his prior one know, and
Yeah,
then I don't know. I get confused a little bit.
maybe he just knew, like, okay, this is the thing that we like. We need to be going left here, so it doesn't really matter how we get there. Just more at this time, we need to be moving. Take a left turn. And that's all I needed to know. I didn't need to know the exact words that he said or whatever.
Well, he has to like do it when he replaces himself. He has to do that so he doesn't change things, and then he has to avoid the other one.
Yeah.
And just pain in the ass. Do all that shit.
I don't know. I'd be in my mind, I'd be like, I don't know if I'd be able to like hold that to like act that like when like in the party scene where there's a shotgun, right? The guy who walks in with the shotgun. I'd be thinking like, what if he checks the gun, sees it's not loaded, and grabs other bullets from somewhere else and fucking puts them in? Like,
Or his pocket.
I'd be nervous as fuck. I wouldn't be able to just sit there with my hands in my pocket, like talking like nothing's happening. I'd be like, oh fuck. I don't know. I'd probably just jack that dude up anyways, bro. Pause. I'd like fuck him up anyways, just cause We're like,
Be the hero. You know he's not armed. He'd be the hero.
Or I'll be like, hey man, you don't want to do this. You're gonna regret this. You're gonna regret it. He cocks a shotgun. Get the fuck out of my way. There's no bullets, bitch. Knock him out. All right.
You're so brave.
That's right. It was me. Start flexing. All right. Go to the future. Do a shit ton of like weightlifting, some steroids. Take a time machine back. It's like, damn, Mike, you changed.
Training.
Damn, Mike, you look different, bro. Yeah, I've been hitting the gym a bit.
Oh. So you'd be like that YouTuber, right? The TRT one who started out, but like, there's years in between, right? And you just be like the next day, you just chill, yoked up.
Yeah, man, must have got some good sleep. Feeling real good today.
Dude, what the fuck? Doesn't even look like the same person.
All right, just watched an old, I'd say indie cult classic called Primer. Little kind of mind bendy. I don't think it says mind bendy as I don't think it's that mind bendy. I think it definitely makes you think of where am I right now? Also, like, here's the thing with time travel movies, or especially like something like this, where characters are kind of replacing themselves, or they're going to a time period where they know they exist too, and they're trying to deal with it. It's not just trying to figure out, okay, how much time did they go back? Where are they exactly? But it's also trying to figure out motives. And I think the movie does an alright job trying to give us like the actual characters, and they're not just, randoms that are just time traveling. Oh, cool, they're just time traveling. They actually give like character motives to some degree. And I find that like that's probably how it should be done. Now, is it the most extravagant movie? No, it's a fucking low budget indie thing. But the creators definitely put thought behind it. I'll say that. And it's like, oh, it turns to be an alright movie. I'm alright with it. I'm not blown away, but it's not terrible either. So they do a solid job with the time travel genre, with a low budget and a short runtime. They do what they do with it. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at it. Like I said, the most interesting thing to me is to see character motives. Because what was the first thing they were doing? At least that I'd noticed them doing. Maybe it was me being like a subconscious, like, this is what I paid attention to. But like they're trying to move stocks or win the lottery, or like they're thinking about money and shit. like their initial fucking motives, like damn, we can get rich off of this shit. But I was confused, like how long of time were they going back? The one I did understand was when they went all the way back to where he's at the benches, and this guy, like both of them were from a longer distance away, right? Actually, now I'm confused again. Where was the guy with the earpiece with the dark hair? I'm gonna ask Jesse this. They both went through the machine, right? And they're like, okay, we're gonna spend like a whole day in this fucking thing. We're gonna bring water, a supply of water. We're gonna have maybe a deeper sleep. I don't know. But we're gonna stay in here longer to go back further, right? They both went in, right?
Yeah.
Where did the dark haired guy go? Where'd he go? Right, because we went back to the original scene of the dude on the bench, right?
Yeah.
But that had to be him from even further away in time, right?
Yeah, it was a separate one. So it wasn't him. Wait, so they both didn't? Did they? I don't know.
Only the blonde guy walked up and he like fucking passed out or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he was.
But where was the dark haired guy?
Too many times.
That wasn't him on the bench. So where was he at? I don't know. Was it him? Maybe he was the one eating cereal or something. That he had the lock in the fucking attic. The guy with the earpiece. I don't know. Maybe that was him.
Yeah. There's too. he was setting things up with the party too, right? I don't know. Like there was
Yeah.
too much stuff going on.
Damn, I don't know where. Yeah, I don't know where he was. So there's moments of confusion there. I'm like, how much time did they go back? Where are they? I know it's a little cheesy for someone to just stay. Hey, Jim, it's 10 a.m. on Tuesday morning. Like it'll be like come off as cheesy because they're trying to like tell you where they're at and what time period they're in versus where they started at, right? But it probably should give more of a hint of that. Maybe it's in there. I just went past my head. Possibly.
It's all in there, but it's hard to catch like all the details and keep track of where you are.
Yeah. Okay. So this is like probably like a actually the movie's kind of like what the characters are doing. You have to go back and then relearn everything all over again, maybe with like a different lens from a different experience. Maybe that's interesting. That's interesting. Okay.
Like we will have a different experience a second and third watching of this. Like you definitely fills in a lot of gaps.
Okay. They did it on purpose. I'd call that fucking genius, to be honest with you. If what the characters are doing, we're also doing to figure out what's going on, as much as they're going back to figure out what's going on. Yada, yada, yada. Except for maybe the main guy, the dark haired dude. Maybe he's like one of the writers, possibly. Maybe he's the writer director. Is he? Maybe he's Shane Carruth. If that's him, right?
Yeah, it was self-acted.
Okay. Then it's like he's the one who knows the answer beforehand. Right? So he's the guy on the bench with the fucking headphone in that just knows exactly what's happening. But the rest of us have to keep going back to like figure something out or whatever. That'd be interesting. That'd be very interesting. But I'm not going to put that on the guy. I don't know that. They didn't explicitly tell me that, so I'm not going to go with that. But that would be interesting if I ever like heard the guy like say, "Well, this is actually part of the movie too," and like explains that. Like, okay, that's fucking genius. And I would have to revise my fucking score. As far as I understand now, it's just on the surface, like a straight through movie. There's no super meta, trying to get the audience involved with like, okay, now I have to rewatch to pick up on, right? Because now you have all the knowledge, you have all the foreknowledge now. Now you can when you go back, you're gonna rewatch the movie with this new knowledge, and you'll notice more and more to it, just like the characters were doing. That'd be interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, you definitely realize that the earpiece in the beginning, when he first obtained knowledge about that and was learning, meant that he already had the information, and he was playing dumb.
Yes. Yes.
And you wouldn't you might catch that at the end of the movie, maybe. Like you do catch it at the end of the movie, but you didn't see that in the beginning of the movie. So when you see it a second time, and you'll completely know.
Yep.
When you see him in that scene, it's like, oh, okay. And the scene plays out a little bit different too in the first and the second one. Like the second one, the guy passes out.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. That'd be interesting, man. That'd be interesting if that's like if it was that thought out. Like that. Because if he's a writer director, well, I'm saying if he's the writer director, he's like, I am the guy who does know exactly like. Right, I made this movie, so when one of us is watching it, he already has the knowledge. Right, he already knows exactly what's going on, and how everything's going to happen, and what everyone's going to say, almost like a time traveler. Like he has the foreknowledge. He's seen all of it. So we're like the passenger watching all of this, and then you come to realize, oh shit! Like after a rewatch, you notice like. Oh, it's almost like we're getting closer to like what he knows as the creator. Like, okay, here's exactly what people are gonna say. Here's where they're gonna be. Here's what time periods they go back to. Yada yada yada, and the true motives of the characters. I think the blonde dude had a little bit. He was more of like, I guess, trying to play like more of the moral thing, or I guess maybe like he wasn't like. He's like, let's destroy the machine. I'll stay back. I'll pull parts out of the machine and make sure it doesn't work anymore. This other dude's like, I'm gonna go to France and build a bigger one. How about that? Or wherever the fuck he was. Right? So, alright. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Like when you first see, like he like, what is it? He put something in his own milk, and you see, like, okay, you're doing this, and then you figure out it's okay. They're trying to save like some kind of incident with the shotgun,
Yeah.
and so, and that's where he says, like, well, okay, it was because he was more motivated. Like, so for some reason, he felt like it was more important. Like, okay, there's this other person, this other version, who's gone through more things, who feels they really need to do something. It's like, and it's also me, right? So there's some kind of motive there.
Yeah.
So the whole budget is like the cameras and the U-Haul storage, because they spent $7,000 on this movie total.
Okay. I mean, yeah, they had to hire actors and all that shit. I'm sure a lot of their friends showed up, but they paid them anyways, type of thing. And became a little cult classic. Look at that. All right. I will recommend my score. I will give this a. I'm gonna give it a 7.4. 7.4. That is my grade for this. That's a decent grade. Now, if you add more of, obviously the acting needs to go up a couple standards. There needs to be more of a little bit more of a connection with the audience. But like I said, if the guy fucking was like, yeah, I did this on purpose because I want the audience to rewatch it and go through the experience that the time travelers are going through, where like you have foreknowledge and you're reviewing the past in a way, I would find that very interesting. That's like super meta to me. But as far as I understand, that's not the case. It's just something creative a guy came up with. So I'm like, okay, cool. But yeah, I wasn't wowed by anything. Not really. It's interesting. It makes you think about where they're at in time and all that shit. But you know, what are they trying to tell me as artists, other than just making me think about what time are these guys in and what they're doing, right? Even the character analysis of the guy, like the other guy's motives, right? He's a little bit more power hungry, or he sees this as some sort of great power, and now he wants to like really use it to the full extent it can go. Okay, but I don't think they put enough in the movie to make that even like a deeper cut when he does choose to, do this for power versus the friend choosing to do it or choosing to like, I want to disable the fucking machine because we might be fucking too many things up and we don't want to, fuck the world up. Right? I mean, granted, both their motives are, I guess, the dumb version of them. No, actually, there wasn't a dumb version of the dark-haired guy. He already knocked himself out and put him in an attic. But the blonde-haired dude, they're like, oh, let's look at stocks and the lottery and shit like that. And then he eventually came around like, okay, this is wrong. This is not the right thing to do. We're fucking too many things up. All right, so let's just destroy the fucking thing and let's let them think that it worked and then just slowly just pull pieces out and it'll just fuck up. Or whatever. Okay. Does the ending imply that the dark haired dude already went back and like memorized or wrote down or something every little detail of the machine so that he can recreate it? Right? Because didn't the blonde haired dude wasn't he the one that like kind of figured it out? Right? Like he figured out a giant portion of it, right? Like an important part of it.
Yes, he figured it out, and yeah, he figured it out, and there was at least two machines.
Yeah.
As far as we know, like that's
So the dark haired dude probably like quietly sat back, and just like learned how to do like how the entire thing fucking worked.
Oh, they talked through though, like how to build it and how to
Yes,
when they were trying to make a human-sized one.
yes, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess yeah. And he just had it on recording. He's like, okay, I can just use this, or he just understood it and can do it. Okay, that makes sense. Got it. But yeah, obviously, like I don't lower grades for the sake of bad or for low budgets, right? Low grades doesn't mean because you have a low budget, right? Unless your point is to be like, you know, like oh, there's a big CIA action thing and it looks like dog shit, like Aaron Eckhart fucking movies. But I mean, man, they should. The guy's still around, man. He should think about like if he can get a fucking contract for maybe a bigger budget. That'd be interesting. But it's not the aesthetics so much that bother me. They're doing what they can with what they have. Granted, they could do more, right? See, you've seen Aronofsky and Nolan make very low budget movies. These guys can, I mean, theoretically, they should be able to do the same. But they just went with pretty simple cinematics because the point was to go talk about the whole time travel thing. I get that. Uh, and also the acting, not that great. But these aren't like super actors in this movie, right? Uh, like no one from these movies like went on to do like other things because of the acting talent. Uh, and then I think the story could have described a little bit more of what's happening, but also extend on the character motives and where they stand, both like morally or maybe if it's greed motives. Let's see that. Like expand on that more. So that's why my grade's going to stay somewhere around 7.4. If I find out there's some sort of like meta thing that the creator was going for, I would definitely boost the grade. But as of now, going with that 7.4. All right. Anyone else would like to go?
So I was recommending this. I hadn't seen it in a very long time.
Yeah.
Uh, I I was trying to like I know I've seen it a couple times before, and I've also watched the explanations. But it's a very this time I had uh like each time I see it a little bit differently. Um, and
Yeah.
and it's been a while, so I'd kind of forgotten quite a bit. So I think that this movie it it is low budget, so I think it that actually helps it a little bit. Like they're not doing these crazy like lighting like special effects because that doesn't really that's not what it's about.
Yeah.
It's um so they're really just telling how that stuff happens. And to both its credit and to what makes it a little bit difficult to capture everything that's going on is because they do explain everything, but they don't handhold at all. So like if you miss something, it's just uh and some things they don't explain it at the time that you first see it. Like
Yeah.
so the only way you would get it is if you rewatch it. Like some of the parts that you might miss. So there's no hand holding. It's uh so it's a little bit confusing, but overall I think they tell a story. I'm always biased towards like time travel movies. I just like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my own thing. Uh, and this is definitely one that within that like genre of movies, it's very well known and like how they put it together. So uh,
Okay.
yeah, I do appreciate like what they were doing. Um, yeah, so I recommend it just because it's one, definitely one of the films. Like you want to do time travel like on big budgets you do like the predestination type of thing on shoelace budgets, like this will do it. Yeah, so that's my recommendation.
Okay. Well, I mean, I would want increased budget to get better cameras, hire better actors, and I mean, the directing was it was all right for what they were doing. It's just there are techniques you can do to do a little bit more sleight of hand to kind of trick the audience a little bit more, and that becomes more immersive at that point, where you don't feel like someone saying like you can feel someone saying cut, right? Because like we need him to like go through the machine, disappear, or he's inside the box right now, or whatever the fuck. You do little sleights of hand to where you don't use CGI, right, or special effects, but you give more of an implication of time travel, time has passed, whether it's forward or backwards. You do little tricks. I think I'd have to think of it. I'd probably have to rewatch the movie to do that, like point out scene by scene, like, okay, here's how you could do this shit right here. In my opinion, right? I'm not some fucking director or anything. I'm saying, like, in my opinion, like what you could do to like play like a little sleight of hand thing, right?
They
I mean,
do some of that, like, but they more because probably because of budget or whatever. But they talk through it. Like when he said, okay, he was clean shaven, but like he had a 2 day stubble or something.
yeah,
Like there's an inconsistency in in the time that he's observing. So they hint at those things, but they didn't exactly show all of that.
okay,
It's just the way they did it.
okay, but there's some amateurish shit in here, right? That's
Yeah.
what anyone doing.
Yeah.
Like, I can definitely point out the scene with the fucking near the fountains, where it's like, yo, that shit is killing your audio, bro. That shit is almost as loud as the people talking, and they're trying to describe. They're describing the shotgun scene, right? They're there talking about it, like in that scene, but I hear like fucking waterfalls going off in the background. Like, okay. I heard them, but that shit was like there, like powerfully there. But that's not the biggest. That's kind of nitpicking, I guess. But you would want people to know because that's the scene where this idea of threat of life, right? You're doing this time travel and it's supposed to be dangerous, right? Because you can affect the way you're kind of changing what reality is at that point. If you go into the past and change something around, right? So they're talking about this shock, like it's an important moment. Like, do we save this person who's gonna get shot? Who's like gonna get shot, right? Or I actually couldn't tell if they were saying he shot her, or him, or whoever, or if he just threatened to shoot them with the shotgun. I assume he tried to shoot them based on the way the movie, based on based on later in the movie, where they gave him the blank shell, or they gave him no bullets in it, right? So I assume they meant he shot her, and then they go back and like fix that or whatever. And I was like, okay, that's important, but I'm hearing a waterfall fucking drown it out and shit. Like, so like
Yeah.
little things like that you could definitely touch up, and it's like, man, you could fucking like not taking away the core essence of the movie, you can remake this movie. Just make sure it's you and it's not, some company that's gonna. Okay, we have 17 writers that are gonna join you and they're gonna help you write this movie. Like, nah, fuck that. He can almost be meta with his own movie. Like, okay, I've seen my own movie 50,000 fucking times. Here's what I would do different. Or if I had this money, here's what I would do, or whatever. Or hey, I wouldn't even act in it. I let this fucking person do it. I let Christian Bale be my role or something, and let fucking Ryan Gosling be the other guy, or whatever, right? Because they're fucking talented actors. I would get that. I don't think that's selling out at all. I think that's just trying to improve it's more of your vision coming to life because they can be more, I don't know, realistic with the with the role. It doesn't feel like one person's talking and the other's talking type shit. if that makes sense. But yeah, like it's just slight improvements like that. And all right, movie, I'm with it. And also, like the big points come from creativity and taking what you have and building something with it. Just like those YouTubers that made that horror movie. Same thing. It's like, what was it, $800 budget? It's like, right? They're not going to win Academy Award for cinematography, but you could see they use sleight of hand in many instances to portray, like, you know, like a horror movie. Something's going down right now, or this person's dead now, or whatever the fuck. Mainly is like, I mean, it's more of
Markiplier, that guy.
No, not well. That one too. That one was probably where they had like a low budget like that, and then they got money, and then okay, here's what we can do. We can rent out like an area of a small town, and shoot a fucking movie here, where everyone's asleep and all that shit. I meant the YouTubers, was it Milk and something? What was it called? I thought it was pretty good. What was the name of it? I almost said Milk and Honey. That's not the name of it. Starring Halloween Screamfest. What was the name of this shit?
What
I want to give him a
clown
shout out.
guy? The clown, or
No, Milk and Cereal, but cereal spelt like serial killer cereal. And I was like, okay, let's watch this because I saw Stuckman recommend it, and you know how I hate Chris Stuckman. But I was like, fuck it, I'll watch it. And maybe it's just me and Teddy. And we watched it, and I was like, oh, this is good. This is actually good. Now, is it the best movie ever? No. But if they took that concept and didn't get rid of the little indie tweaks that happen, just like this movie, or just like the little indie tweaks where they can't just, pay a computer graphics guy to fix this or fix that, or they have to like kind of like make it work. Those little elements, like, damn, you got something there, man. You really do. And you have to stretch the runtime. I mean, you don't have to, but I think people would prefer a longer. Well, fuck people, but I think you can like slow down certain scenes. I mean, these guys shoot it in like almost like a social media type of thing. It's not so much a mockumentary or a docu-horror or whatever the fuck the genre is called. It is, but it's more of a newer era version of that, where it's like almost like I'm watching social media posts create a horror movie. Where you have to you watch one scene, you have to flip to the next one. Which is like, hey, I mean, it kind of worked. Like, hey, it's like, but I think I like to see these kind of original concepts be done. Maybe on a bigger scale for more people to see. They can see what people do with shoestring budgets and shit like that. But it is what it is. All right. Anything else before I hit unrecord? No? All right. There's your review for Primer. Was it 2001? Primer 2001. That's the year, not the title. The title's just Primer. There you go.